So the next category that we're coming to in the precious metal category is luxury jewelry. And luxury jewelry, the name defines itself. The jewelry contains the best material or the finest material, the rarest of gemstones, the best quality diamonds, and the highest quality of workmanship, the best designs. And so put together, this is luxury jewelry. Generally, the designs are, the pieces are bespoke pieces or rare pieces. You will usually see one of a kind pieces over here, and they will come from famous designers or jewelry houses. The jewelry by itself will have a very captivating quality, and they will also gain in value. So over a period of time, mostly this sort of jewelry will gain in value. Many a times, this jewelry is auctioned in auction houses like Sotheby's and Christie's. So this is really like a teamwork kind of jewelry piece. This sort of jewelry where the designer, the applied thinking of the designer, the production team strives to make it as perfect as possible. The quality assurance is always bang on, and the time spent is generally a huge, like a long amount of time for this sort of jewelry. So it could be anywhere between sometimes 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, really depends. And that, therefore, this is called high jewelry or luxury jewelry. Now, certain brands like Cartier, Van Cleef and Arpels, they cater to fine jewelry as well as luxury jewelry. And so, for example, Cartier has a bracelet which is very is sold in 18 karat gold, and this bracelet is called the Love bracelet. It's a very fast moving item for them, but that categorizes in fine jewelry. But this bracelet, the cuff that you can see over here, which is a panther cuff, um, it's made by Cartier, and you can see uh, the panther is studded with diamonds with onyx stone, and then you have white gold, really well made piece here. And this earring on the left is by a designer called Ostili, and Ostili he uses colored gold to very often in his jewelry, and here he's kind of used green gold, and he's used big opal stones. The oval stones are called opal stones, and opal, you can see it's blue and yellow. It has a yellow fire kind of thing, and the green stones are jade stones. The lowest jade stones are carved, and then the blue stones, I think, yeah, they're tanzanite stones. The earring on the top is by Arun Bora. Again, he's an Indian designer but based in Beverly Hills, and his brand is called Arunashi. And as what the earrings are trying to showcase is the luxury jewelry. Basically, even at the back of the jewelry is so well thought of. So they've actually studded the back with diamonds and stones as well. The two brooch pins at the lower, at the base are by Van Cleef and Arpels, and they're called Romeo and Juliet. And this is Van Cleef and Arpels is a French luxury brand, and known for its fine and high jewelry. But if you see both of them, again, very well made pieces. And off lately, a similar piece from Van Cleef and Arpels, the similar piece to the Juliet, which is standing there, was sold in an auction at Christie's for about $20,000. And though the piece is very tiny, it sold for a very high value. That's the value of luxury jewelry. And this is an emerald necklace by Bina Goenka. Again, on the right, by Arun Bora, this is a necklace made with pearls and with tanzanite and 18 karat gold. On the left is a necklace by Chopard, and this has a very interesting story actually. This necklace was made out of a rough diamond which was found in the Botswana mines, and the Botswana mine found this exceptionally good quality rough diamond. So the quality in the rough diamond was a 342 carat, which is a really big rock of diamond, and the stone, this rough rock, was of deep color In D-color and diamond signifies an almost colorless diamond, and so it's one of the highest qualities. And the clarity, that means there was no impurity in the stones. It was completely flawless, and there was no impurities. And Chopard, of course, got this stone, and it was a huge rock, and so they wanted to make a good design out of that stone, and they cut this big stone into 23 big diamonds, and the rock was called the King of Kalahari, and this necklace is called the Queen of Kalahari. There's a small video which we'll see where the making of this necklace. It's a small clipping. My servants and nobles was something very, very. And so that defines luxury jewelry. And this was just a small clipping, but the making of this is there on YouTube if any of you want to watch this. The last category that we're looking at is contemporary art or studio jewelry. And really, if there was any jewelry that had a personality of its own, it would belong to this category. This jewelry is generally made to express a certain thought or certain viewpoint of the designer, or many a times it is to break boundaries of a certain material or to experiment with material as well. So the jewelry is one of a kind, made by the designer. The designer is the maker and the designer for the piece, and this jewelry is sometimes sold to collectors. And there are a lot of art galleries that showcase contemporary art jewelry in Europe and America. And basically any material that you can think of, right from recycled paper, plastics, uh, cloth, nylon, anything that you can think of could be used in this category. And the designer generally makes his own jewelry in small studios. Now, this piece on the right is body movement jewelry by Eva Slivinska. I think I can't pronounce it. But what she's used is she's used nylon and metal cylinders to create this jewelry, which actually moves with any gesture or even little bit of breeze. It will kind of move. So this is one kind of jewelry. And then the first jewelry on the left is a pendant by Alexander Blank, and this is made in white foam. The This was showcased in an exhibition, this whole collection, and it was called If Cartoons Had Skeletons. And I think maybe this could be Bugs Bunny. The second one is recycled paper pendant and really beautifully made. You can see how detailed it is. The last one is by a very popular designer called Otto Kunzli, and this ring is called a two-person ring or two-people ring. Basically, there are two finger rings, there are three finger rings. This is a ring for two people. It's a simple rod which is connecting the little fingers of two people. This jewelry is by a designer called Wallace Chan, and Wallace Chan is his jewelry is really beautiful. I really admire his work, and he is known as a jeweler and an innovator. He himself was a gem cutter, and later he started crafting his own jewelry pieces. He only makes one jewelry piece per design, and all of his jewelry will have some sort of message or philosophical message, or they will be exploring the boundaries of certain materials. So for example, the first one is you can see it's a bracelet which you can see a few fish over there, and it's using tourmaline, it's using pink sapphires, and it's also using pure metal. Now, mostly contemporary art jewelry would be considered jewelry which is made from alternative materials. But there are some designers like Wallace Chan who's using precious stones and precious material as well to create this jewelry. The second ring is made with porcelain, and it's made with sapphires, aquamarine stones, and this porcelain mix has been invented by Wallace Chan himself. And there's also metal to highlight the white porcelain. And he also has come up with his own stone cut. So he's one of the most popular jewelers or sought after jewelers of this time. Uh, This slide shows jewelry by, and she herself is a contemporary art designer and art jeweler. And one point to note is that the jewelry that is made within this category is not necessarily made to be worn always, or made to be worn even once, maybe, because as I said earlier, is to express a certain viewpoint. And this collection is called Traces Collection. And basically she made this for an exhibition in college, which was I think it was called If Elephant. I'll look up the term, but I'll get back to you with this. But it was something to do with elephants and memory. And basically the first piece is made out of chalk. And if you see, she named her collection Traces and Memory and Traces. And so if you see, the first necklace is made of chalk. And whenever you wear a piece with chalk, obviously it's going to leave its trace behind. It's going to leave some sort of memory behind on the clothes of the wearer. And this is what she wanted to do. She wanted the wearer to have this trace always, and to be there as a memory. But the second piece which you can see is a ceramic pendant, and this she had put the gulal colors in this, and she actually broke this piece down so that it could then leave its trace on the wearer. So when you wear this, you kind of break this piece down, and the trace is left on the clothes of the wearer. So this is contemporary art, and